Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Liberation Lens podcast with David Alexander. I am your host, David Alexander, and this is episode 3. Hey, by now, you're probably getting a pattern here on my Substack channel, which is growing, and I'm so grateful. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. But you probably notice a pattern. I'm writing fairly consistently and releasing new articles at least once a week on Mondays, and sometimes more as time and opportunity allows. And those are coming out and gaining a lot of traction. I'm so grateful. And then on Wednesdays, I am releasing a podcast called The Liberation Lens that you're listening to now. And in that, I'm keeping those short to about 10 minutes or so. 15 minutes. I think the second one was a little bit longer, 20 minutes. But the idea is to keep them short, certainly under 30 minutes, and focus them on the framework that I'm calling the Liberation Lens. There are 8 pillars, principles, whatever you want to call them, 8 points to what I'm building out as this framework called the Liberation Lens. And I'm just taking them one at a time. So episode 1 was the first principle or pillar. Consciousness is everything. You can find that link in the text below. And episode 2 was that, what was episode 2? Episode 2 was Everyone is on the Path, and that's talking about inclusivity and just there are many different paths up the mountain, but everyone is on the path somewhere on their journey. And so we try to reduce our judgment and say everyone is on the path. You might be ahead of the game, you might be behind where I am, or whatever. I might be behind where you are. It doesn't really matter, because I'm going to focus on my steps on the path and keep moving forward, which leads us to number 3. And before I do that, let me just say, really grateful that we're growing here on Substack to my subscribers. We are nearing the 300 mark, which is amazing, just amazing in the short amount of time we've been here. And paid subscribers are growing as well. That, you guys are just blowing my mind. I have to tell you that. At every share and every like and every comment that comes in, and every person who decides to click that button and upgrade to a paid subscriber, which is only $80 a year, hopefully attainable for many of you. I'm so grateful, because you're giving me the time and the energy and the motivation. It is an act of solidarity to support work like this, especially in a time like now where so much of what we believe is sort of under attack in one way or another. We need each other. We need community. We need solidarity. And we need voices of inspiration. I hope to be that for you. I'm grateful that you're listening, and I'm grateful that you're supporting and sharing in whatever ways that you are. I will always commit to my work being available for free on this channel, so long as the economics of my life and my family afford me the privilege to do that. And so if you need a scholarship or something, I'm not going to put stuff behind a paid wall, but if I do, I'll always offer the opportunity for anyone who wants to access it to be able to do so easily. So thank you for those of you who are stepping up and putting some skin in the game in terms of just some financial support. I really, really, really appreciate it. And that's not the point of what we're doing. The point is to get the word out. And so, as I said, number 1, pillar 1, consciousness is everything. Pillar 2, everyone is on the path. And that brings us, drum roll, number 3. Number 3 is evolution is our nature. The full phrase of number 3 is, and really just sharing this second part, evolution is our nature, but wholeness is our design. Or we might say it the other way. I often say it the other way. Wholeness is our design, but evolution is our nature. You're designed in wholeness. You're whole, perfect, and complete as you are, but you're also called to evolve and to grow, right? So there is this intelligence at work in the universe, this impulse, a momentum that moves all of life, all of creation that we see around us forward, right? We see it in the way that trees, seeds become trees, rather, in the way that rivers carve their path through stone and move earth over time, in the ways that a wound on our skin naturally heals itself. Growth is not something that we have to force. It's the way of life itself. This is true not only biologically, but also spiritually. Evolution is our nature. Wholeness is our design. This notion that we are meant to grow physically, mentally, spiritually, it's not a new idea, right? It's been spoken of in ancient spiritual traditions. It's been woven into the very fabric of creation stories and wisdom teachings. In modern times, science affirms this through evolutionary biology and developmental psychology. From the Big Bang to the expansion of the cosmos, from a single-cell organism that divides to the complexity of our human life and relationships, the message is clear. Life unfolds, life expands, life reaches always for greater expression. We can pave a parking lot with asphalt, but the earth will push and find a way through. And so does that something inside of us. It is always pushing and finding its way through. The evolutionary mandate is to grow or die, right? But here's the challenge. Growth is not always comfortable. In fact, most of the time it's not comfortable. When our bones and muscles expand, it's uncomfortable. When we have to work out and muscles have to break down in order to build back up, when we're expanding in our mother's womb, it's uncomfortable for her and for us, right? Human beings, we crave progress, but we cling to comfort. Woo! That's good. I hope you caught that. We crave progress, but we cling to comfort, right? We want our iPhones or our smartphones or whatever devices to be the latest and the greatest and to update and to be the most advanced technology that we can be, but don't change the way we interact. Don't change the rules of where I find the like button and this button and that, right? I want it to be the same. I want it to be updated, but I want it to be the same. We crave progress, but we cling to comfort. We want transformation, but we resist the discomfort that comes with it. We long for healing, but we sometimes hold on to the very wounds that shaped us. Right? It's like taking old clothes, and putting them out at the curb for donation or taking them to some charity. And then we cling to them as we're going through the box. Like, oh, I remember when I got that thing that no longer fits me. It's comforting. It's warm. Yeah, but it no longer fits you. Oh, no, but I used to look so good in that. Change can feel like a threat to the identity that we have built up about ourselves, even if that identity is incomplete, is fractured, or doesn't fit us anymore. The resistance to growth doesn't stop the evolutionary impulse. Whether we are participating in it or not, life is always moving us forward. I often say that it's our ego that wants us safe, but it's our soul that wants us free. Our ego wants us safe. We want to stay in the comfort of what we know, of what we think, of how we identify, of who we think we are and the way in which we think the world works. But our soul, there's something inside of us that longs to be free. The blueprint for wholeness is already within us. We're not broken, and we're not broken things that need to be fixed. We're unfolding beings awakening to our wholeness. There's something inside of us that knows that. But wholeness doesn't mean that we don't have flaws, right? It's actually inclusive of all of those flaws, all of the things that we would call imperfect or not quite there yet. It's including in all of those things. And so what we're striving for in life is not perfection. We know there's a scripture that says, be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Or it could be more aptly translated, more correctly translated, as be ye whole, even as your Father in heaven is whole, or even as that which created you is whole. And whole is complete, perfect, inclusive of. It's not the absence of scars, it's the integration of all of those things that make us who we are. I think about a tree that has been struck by lightning, and yet it continues to grow and twisting around its wound, reaching towards the sun. What is that causes it to do that? The scar in the tree doesn't make it less whole. It's part of the story of what it's becoming. And its evolutionary trajectory of becoming what it's designed to become can't be stopped by the thing that happened. And neither can you. The same is true for each of us. The path to wholeness is not about erasing our past or eliminating our struggles. It's about bringing all of our parts of ourselves into alignment. The invitation of our evolution is to grow or to stagnate. When we look at the world around us where there's so much division and fear and suffering that we see is rooted in resistance to growth. Systems cling to outdated paradigms, outdated thought structures. Cultures fight against necessary transformations. Cities resist expanding and growing, right? We vote against. We don't want the bus line to come to this part of town because more people will come, and it's like, well, they're already coming. Right? We resist the growth and the change that is always knocking at our door. Individuals struggle against the calling of their own souls, but evolution will not be denied. Whether in personal healing or in social justice or in collective consciousness, the movement towards our wholeness always continues. And so the question as we come to our close today, the question becomes, will you participate, and are you willing to participate in your own becoming? Principle 3 or pillar 3 of the liberation lens, the way in which we're viewing life in a way that moves us towards the liberation that we are designed for, is remembering that evolution is our nature, wholeness is our design. And so there are 3 ways that we can participate willingly in our own becoming that I want to share with you today. Number 1 is the self-reflection inner work. Right. It's the growth that begins with awareness, with pausing and thinking and critically examining what patterns are keeping us stuck, what beliefs no longer serve you. And it's less about trying to fix what is broken, but about remembering our wholeness and doing that through inner work and reflection. Right. Number 1, self-reflecting and inner work. Number 2, embracing discomfort as a teacher. Transformation often comes with discomfort. Instead of fearing it, we can ask, what is this here to teach me? Every challenge carries the seed of expansion. What is this here to teach me? What can I learn from this moment? Don't run from things that make you uncomfortable. Get curious about them and ask them why they're there. You'll transform them much, much quicker. Number 3, align yourself with a larger purpose and vision. That there's always something greater. Not just, you're doing this not just for your own self-aggrandizement, not for your own personal success and well-being. Yes, all of those things, but just as the river flows to the ocean, there's a natural pull within us towards something bigger. Trust that you are part of the evolutionary pull of the planet. You are you're growing not just so that you can have more and be successful and be all that you've been designed to be, but so that you are a part of the evolution of the planet, of the expansion of human consciousness, of the growth of justice and service and beauty and love in the world. Get caught up in that vision that there's something that is bigger than me, that I am here to be a part of, and it's pulling me forward into it. Yeah. You find that place, you will have found the evolutionary pulse of your life. And you can always, always trust that. And of course, at the root of all of this is this paradox that we are already whole and yet we are constantly evolving. Wholeness is not something we acquire, it's something that we uncover, and that the natural state of being beneath the layers of conditioning and fear and doubt is the wholeness of who we are. But we have to evolve and expand in our conscious awareness rather, of that truth. So if evolution is our nature and wholeness is our design, then our task is simple. Say yes. Yes to the growth, yes to the change, yes to the healing, yes to the becoming, because life is always moving forward and we are meant to move with it. Keep growing, my friends. Thank you for listening. Keep sharing, keep liking this podcast. It's really inspiring me to keep coming on here and finding something new to share with you. Until next time, peace and blessings.